The FIFA Club World Cup is often not taken seriously by many. I mean, let's be honest. The format, the dates, and the marketing have all been mediocre at best. But all that is changing. Despite FIFA's consistency in providing us with moronic ideas, it seems like this time they might be getting things right. This new Club World Cup coming in 2025 might work. And over time, it could even pull higher numbers than even the Champions League. This has the potential to be the second or even first highest viewed soccer club competition in the world. I know it seems far-fetched, but it's possible. So why don't we dive into it? Hi, I'm Mirhan Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV, and welcome to our FIFA Club World Cup video, the 2025 one, the new format, the new one that actually has some potential. Can it flop? Maybe, but it's looking promising. And this is how it's going to go for the FIFA Club World Cup coming to the United States of America in 2025. In this video, we will quickly dive into the old format, the new format, and why they changed it. Then we are going to go through the clubs that have already qualified and the spots that are open. Last but not least, I want to address how this tournament could change US soccer forever. Or not. It might have no impact. I might just be overhyping it. I might be delusional. Who knows? Make sure to hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you want to. I can't force you. And let me know in the comment section down below the club or soccer team that you love. The one you root for. Just one, not two. The one that stresses you out no matter what, and you never abandon them. Mine is obviously Palmeiras when it comes to club soccer or football, depending on where you're from. And before we start, this video is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, but more on that later. So let's play the intro and let's get it started. Okay, so before we dive into the current format, which is super simple, let's go back to the past so you can understand how we even got here. Because Club World Cups have actually been going on for quite some time, like multiple decades. They just never really lived up to the expectation and the potential that they actually have. You see, technically the Club World Cup started all the way back in the 1960s. Some people even say it started in the 1950s, but let's talk about the 1960s, which at the time, the 1960s, it was called the Intercontinental Cup, organized by UEFA and CONMEBOL. It also only had teams from obviously Europe and South America playing in this competition. And it was essentially just a two-leg final between the champions of South America versus the champions of Europe. One game at home, one game away. Which you even had the likes of Santos with Pele winning two of them back in the 60s. This tournament was played every single year with a few exceptions. Then in 1980, the Intercontinental Cup changed its format to a single-legged match, just one match final, played in Japan, also between the champions of CONMEBOL and UEFA. This was also an event that happened every single year, all the way till 2004. Here's the thing, this competition was fine, but the main struggle has always been to get a global audience and the UEFA teams and fans to actually care, which they didn't back then, and they still don't right now. So in 2000, 4 years prior to the Intercontinental Cup ending, FIFA actually made their own version of the Club World Cup, which was called the Club World Cup, or the FIFA Club World Cup. They're very creative. I mean, let's be honest, that's probably what you should call it anyway. Where for the first time, we had non-CONMEBOL or UEFA clubs participating. There was one team from every single confederation plus an extra spot for a club from the host nation. So for that specific edition, it was hosted in Brazil, so obviously we had an extra Brazilian club. FIFA then did not organize another Club World Cup till 2005, after they simply merged with the Intercontinental Cup and made this a yearly competition usually held in December in an attempt to make the Club World Cup a thing. Well, guess what? It didn't work. The same issues they had before, they still had with the current format that we're having like in 2023. You don't really get the European sides to care, the clubs and the fans, and you don't really capture a global audience. From 2005 till today, the format of this tournament has been where the club that won the continental competition of the specific seasons qualifies for all the confederations. Okay, so one club per confederation plus one club from the host nation. The teams from CONMEBOL and UEFA would patiently wait in the semifinals while other teams, would just play preliminary rounds and fight it off until they got to the semifinals. But all of this is changing. And this new expanded format coming to the United States in 2025 is actually really smart, interesting, and as I said earlier in the video, it has a ton of potential to be something special, something that matters and that people care. And this is what the new format will look like. It'll be a Club World Cup held every 4 years instead of every single year, starting in 2025 in the United States of America during the summer, so in June and July. This tournament will have a total of 32 clubs, just like what we used to have in the World Cup in 2022, 2018, all the way back to 2002. And we're going to have 4 clubs from the AFC, which is the Asian Confederation, 4 clubs from the CAF, which is the African Confederation, 4 from CONCACAF, which is the North and Central American Confederation, 6 from CONMEBOL, which is from South America, 1 from the OFC, which is Oceania, and then 12 from UEFA, which is the European Confederation. And then they'll also have 1 spot for a club from the host nation, which in 2025 will be the United States of America. The format is extremely simple. It's the same as the 2022 World Cup. You have 8 groups of 4, 2 teams from each group advance to the round of 16, and then you have single leg knockout rounds all the way till the final. I don't need to explain that. It's pretty much a copy and paste from the previous World Cups you have just watched in 2022, 2018, doesn't matter how old you are. So when you think about it that way, with the amount of teams that will be there, the quality, you can definitely capture a global audience. The question is, will UEFA teams care? If they do, this tournament has a ton of potential. You see, it's only every 4 years, so rarity makes it more valuable. It's highly competitive with 12 UEFA nations and quality teams across the globe, so it might succeed where others failed. It might actually get UEFA teams to care if there's enough money, enough of an award for them to care, and they should be able to capture a global audience with more teams in the tournament. I like the idea. Could it fail? Sure, but it seems far more promising than previous editions and formats. FIFA also announced the return of the Intercontinental Cup. The one that we talked about earlier in the video that didn't work out, with a similar format, yet a bit different. And understand, the announcement of the return of the Intercontinental Cup is pretty stupid. It didn't work in the past. Now you have an actual FIFA Club World Cup that looks fairly interesting. It's dumb, but it's how FIFA operates, right? If they do something right, they have to do 2 other things that are stupid, dumb, or corrupt. So the Intercontinental Cup is back. I don't hate it, it's just really dumb that they're even trying to make this a thing when we know it's not going to be a thing. And it'll just be another annual competition where the recent continental champions will face each other in a single leg knockout round. The CONCACAF club will face the CONMEBOL club in what will be called Stage B. The winner of Stage B will face the winner of Stage A, which is a bunch of knockout rounds among the other confederations besides UEFA. Then whoever wins between Stage A and B will face the UEFA club in the final. Essentially, all the clubs from all the other confederations will face each other in single leg knockout rounds just to face the UEFA club in the final in a neutral venue. This event will take place in December every year, and I can tell you right away, it will most certainly fail because it's literally what we currently have with minor changes, but since it has never worked, I don't see why it would work now. But enough of the Intercontinental Cup, because for multiple years, no one cared about that. What matters is the 2025 Club World Cup. So which teams have qualified to it so far, and how many spots are still available? But before we get to that, a quick word from the sponsor of this video, Underdog Fantasy. We'll be back in 1 minute. So don't go anywhere. And thank you, Underdog Fantasy, for sponsoring Tactical Manager TV. Underdog Fantasy is a fun game to play prior to any soccer match, or basketball, or football as well, but we don't talk about those two in Tactical Manager TV. Sometimes basketball during live watch-alongs. I have been playing Underdog Fantasy for over a year now. You can download the app by using the link on the description of this video, and you can also use the promo code TMTV. And Underdog will be matching your first deposit for up to $100. And in the process, you'll be helping the channel avoid bankruptcy. The game I mainly play is called Pick'em. You just click on it, scroll to the soccer section, and pick a player for a specific match and select the stats that you believe will be lower or higher. It's very easy to play, but be smart about your picks because it's not easy to win. I'll be playing some Underdog Fantasy during some match live streams or match live watch-alongs, so stay tuned for that, as I will be forced to cheer for a player or root against him. Now, I am a professional hater, so I'll probably be rooting for the player's downfall. Once again, don't forget to use the promo code TMTV and use the link on the description of this video. Thank you, Underdog Fantasy, for sponsoring the channel. We're back. Now let's talk about the teams that have already qualified. From UEFA, the following clubs have already qualified or have already locked in a spot. They are Chelsea, Real Madrid, and Manchester City due to winning the Champions League this cycle. Then you have the teams that qualify through the UEFA rankings, and they are Bayern, Porto, Benfica, PSG, and Inter Milan. Which means UEFA still has 4 spots up for grabs, 3 of them being out of the ranking, which we're not sure who they will be yet, and 1 being whoever wins the Champions League this season. CONMEBOL currently has Palmeiras, Flamengo, and Fluminense, all 3 from Brazil, locked in due to winning the past few Libertadores. The winner of the 2024 Copa Libertadores will also get a spot, along with 2 more teams from CONMEBOL based off their rankings. And if we look at the rankings, it's probably going to be Boca or River Plate, or at least one of those 2. Oceania has Auckland City as their club, the one that will represent the Confederation. Now let's talk about CONCACAF. And CONCACAF currently has the Seattle Sounders from the United States of America, Club León, and Monterrey from Mexico locked in. The winner of the 2024 CONCACAF Champions Cup will also get a spot, plus they have an extra spot from the host nation being the United States. And I mean, come on, man. If Inter Miami doesn't win the CONCACAF Champions Cup in 2024, they're probably going to find a way to give Inter Miami so that Messi can play in the Club World Cup, right? They're probably going to give it to Inter Miami. We can all see this coming. Now for Africa, they currently have Al Ahly from Egypt and Wydad Casablanca from Morocco. They both have qualified already. The other 2 spots will be for the winners of the next CAF Champions League and the best ranked African team outside of the 3 winners that we just mentioned. Last but not least, we have Asia, which currently has Al Hilal, the team that signed Neymar, with a spot locked in, and the Urawa Red Diamonds from Japan, also locked in. The other 2 spots will be for the winners of the AFC Champions League this season and the best ranked team in Asia outside of those 3 winners. Okay, I gave you all the information that you needed, so why do I think this tournament could actually change US soccer forever and Liga MX? So yes, the league in England and Mexico have more viewers in the United States than the actual American league, which is Major League Soccer. That is actually not normal. You go to a country like Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, the top league is the country's league. A lot of people watch the Premier League globally, but it's actually not normal. And it's not just the Premier League. It's Liga MX too, the Mexican league. They're both ahead in MLS in terms of ratings of viewers in the United States of America. And there are a series of reasons I can provide for that, like how corporate the league feels at times, no promotion relegation, the fact that it's also young and building its own history and culture, the stupid roster restrictions, limited spending from owners. But there's one specifically that could change. There's one specific reason that could actually change with the Club World Cup. And that is the perception of MLS being a serious league in the eyes of American soccer fans that reject it, right? They don't believe it's a serious league, not competitive, but that can change with the Club World Cup. Understand that all soccer fans in America will be paying attention. This is a massive event, and this tournament will have a minimum of 2 MLS teams, possibly 3. If they can show to be competitive, maybe get out of their group, it can easily change the perception of the league among some American soccer fans and drive a good amount of them towards the league. They could start to be taken seriously by these people that don't take the league seriously. Now, a good question is, do I, Filippo, myself, believe that'll happen? And the short answer to that is no. The league does have Messi, sure, but it failed to raise the salary cap and remove some of the roster restrictions to make it competitive to compete with the top clubs in South America, and obviously even less with those 12 UEFA nations. Even if they do it in 2025, raise the salary cap drastically, it's too close to the event to have a meaningful impact right away in the rosters. It should have been done now in 2024, but it was not. And the way it's being set up, there are higher odds of the MLS teams being punching bags in the competition rather than possible dark horses and, gaining respect of other soccer fans in this country. Because if MLS fails, just flops and doesn't do well, it's just going to be mocked. That's what's going to happen. Most MLS sides are also not accustomed to playing a high-intensity, high-pressure tournament, but we'll see. I honestly hope that MLS is successful in this tournament alongside the South American sides. I will be mostly just rooting against UEFA, even though the winner is like 99% certain to be one of the 12 UEFA clubs that will be playing in this tournament. And just to make it clear, how does that affect US soccer, MLS, right? Some people just don't like MLS and they're just going to say, who cares if MLS grows? But my point is, like MLS or not, and trust me, I'm as far as it gets from an MLS shill. I'm very often called an MLS hater, even though I cover the league and watch it quite a bit and attend games. However, what I want to say is most of the US men's national team players will come from MLS in the future, as they still do now. The only ones that won't are probably dual nationals developed abroad, which we can't rely on that forever. So MLS growing, getting more money, improving its competitiveness of the league, along with the academies, would benefit the US men's national team, which is honestly all that I care about here. How does it benefit the United States men's national team? That's what matters to me. Will it happen? Well, MLS is not implementing the changes needed to strengthen the teams enough to be successful in this tournament. So I find it unlikely, but I will remain hopeful. So we'll see. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on the topic that I just discussed. Can this Club World Cup change the way American soccer fans see Major League Soccer? Yes or no? Does it even matter? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to drop a like also before you leave this video. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day.